Hello. In this video, we're going to talk about inclination and slope, parallel and perpendicular slopes and lines. The inclination of a line is the measure of the smallest non-negative angle which the line makes with the positive end of the x-axis. For example, the first line makes a 45-degree angle. The second line looks like it's making a negative 60-degree angle, but actually what we're looking at is the 120-degree angle. It's the positive non-negative angle, not the negative angle, the positive non-negative angle. The inclination of a line, when we're talking about the inclination of a line, what we're talking about is the tangent of that angle, so y over x. The slope, or the angle of inclination, is the same thing as the rate of change. So that's the slope is the tangent of theta equals the change in y, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Most of you have seen this since high school. So if we take points P and Q, we're looking at where the change in y, so the change in our y variable, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equals the tangent of theta. Parallel lines, or parallel slope, have the same slope. So parallel lines have the same slope because they have the same angle and inclination. So it doesn't matter where that line moves to, if they're parallel, they have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have the slope with negative reciprocals of each other. So that means that if my lines are perpendicular, then it's negative 1 over m, and they meet at a 90 degrees, so it's negative 1. Find the slope and the inclination of the line through the given points, 3, negative 5, and 1, negative 1. So that's m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So m equals negative 5 plus 1, because negative and a negative is a positive, over 3 minus 1. So that's negative 4 halves, which is negative 2. Graph the line through 0, 4 with slope negative 3. So that's 0, 4 is my y-intercept, so I plot 0, 4, and the negative 3 means I go down 3 to the right 1. So I go down 3 and I go to the right 1. Then I get to play connect the dots. So I draw a line through the dots. Find the slope of the lines through the pair of points that are parallel, have the same slope, perpendicular, the slopes are negative reciprocals, coincident, which means they intersect but are not parallel, or none of these. So if I call 1, negative 4 and 6, 1 line 1, and 2, 3, negative 1, 6 line 2, so if I find the slope of line 1, so that's m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, so that's 1 plus 4 over 6 minus 1, that gives me 1. The slope of line 2 is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, so that's 6 minus 3 over negative 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. Negative 1 over 1 is negative 1, so these lines are perpendicular. If the line through x5 and 4, 3 is perpendicular with slope m equals 3, find x. Perpendicular means that they have negative 1 over m, and the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that means that negative 1/3 equals 5 minus 3 over 4 minus x. How do we solve this? We find the LCD and multiply both sides by this LCD. The LCD is 3 times 4 minus x. We multiply both sides by 3 times 4 minus x. Then that simplifies to minus 4 minus x equals 3 times 2. We isolate our variable and we find that x equals 10. Show by means of slope that the quadrilateral are the vertices of a parallelogram. If we graph our points and label them, we use m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So last time we did this by showing them that the distance were the same and that opposite sides had the same distances, or that the midpoints intersected. This time we're going to actually do it by the fact that the opposite sides are parallel. So AB has slope equal to 0, and BC has slope equal to 3. CD has slope equal to 0, and AD has slope equal to 3. So AB is parallel to CD, BC is parallel to DA. Because the opposite sides are parallel, this is a parallelogram. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks!